This is so fascinating because, we're talking about how that we looked at our research data for 2014 and found after analyzing 776 focus groups, all through New Providence, the three leading issues were anger, violence, and grief. Margaret Smith, a distinguished psychotherapist, is breaking this down for us. She made the point that many of us, when we're ashamed, we get angry. Somebody speaks about our mother or disses us, we want to fight back. She made the point we're living revenge and retaliation. But see, that's a vicious circle. And the real issue is we don't feel valued in ourselves. And she ended the session by saying, you have to believe what you are, you have to behave what you are, then you'll become what you are. And Margaret, you were making the correspondence to a person who is black.
Mm-hmm.
But in our country too, some kids are white and they're in a black school.
Mm-hmm.
So they also feel that kind of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying relates to human beings, not just black
Yes,
or white
human
people.
beings. Yes, because, all of us, many of us have experienced being a minority.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have.
Yeah. Tell us about a time when you lived in a
lived-
white country and
yeah,
you felt
yeah,
like a minority.
I-
You mentioned Amsterdam at one point.
Yeah, in Amsterdam. I lived in community in Amsterdam, and most of the times I may be one of two black people in a community that maybe is 40 people.
What's it like to feel a minority in
To feel a minority, you look around and you see that you're just you or just one other. But it's interesting enough, because I started this journey from like I was a teenager in that community, I was able to say, I'm valuable. So, and believe it and behave it and become it. And I
But
felt.
that doesn't mean you were taken as a token, because sometimes you could be taken as a token,
Yeah.
a black person, and
Yeah.
therefore the novelty of that
Yeah.
gives you an ascendancy.
Yes.
So you're not talking about being taken as a token.
No,
And
I'm
enjoying
not
that.
talking about being taken as a token, because it really doesn't have so much to do. Treatment, how people treat us is important. I get that. But the important thing is how you believe inside,
Or you process yourself.
how you process yourself.
And
How-
you, in Amsterdam, where you were a minority, you said you were processing yourself. And how did you process yourself?
I'm valuable. And, and a lot of times your value has to do with what you believe about yourself. Or let me change that. What I'm good at, when I know I'm good at something, that goes to how valuable you feel.
And you're a good therapist. I know that.
And then
a good marriage therapist.
And the next thing, what goes to how you feel about yourself, is you understand your flaws and your strengths, and you still love yourself. You have a love, an appreciation of yourself.
And this goes beyond color, right?
That goes beyond color. Appreciation and love of yourself, which includes your strengths and weaknesses. And one of the things I had to come to is, okay, I have strengths and weaknesses, you have strengths and weaknesses, you have strengths and weaknesses, we all got strengths and weaknesses, so therefore, we're all in the same boat. So why should I look at you as more important than me, or why should I look at you as less important than me? It's this belief is very, very important.
But Margaret, if you don't have that, what do you do? If a white person living in a black community, like many in the Bahamas do, going to a black school and white, or a black person living in a white community, if they don't have this belief about themselves, how do they get it?
They have to learn it.
So that professor or that teacher in school at 14 helped you?
It helped me because
he forced you.
It forced me to actually ask the questions and find the answers.
So you're saying your problems can actually help you to push you to learn.
Yes.
So a problem is a gift.
A problem is a gift.
Somebody said Goliath was David's gift.
Yes. It pushes you to to learn, to discover, and to come to some conclusion. Some people come to conclusions that are destructive. That, they may come to, so I ain't nothing then. I can show you I ain't nothing.
Mm.
Rather than say, hold on, and look at it and say, if the person who's telling me this, if I can look at a person who says, you ain't nothing, and I look at my life and I see that this same person who tells me I'm nothing also has these glaring things about them that's not good, and I have some glaring things about me that are not good. What makes that person more valuable than me? We have to start thinking. And one of my friends says we lack critical thinking skills as a people.
That's a big word. Break that.
Critical thinking. Think logically. And a lot of times people don't think. They just go straight from I've been this straight to boom, action. That the thinking process that is gone. And if you start to think, you then begin to see that this person telling me I'm nothing isn't true.
Now, Margaret, we're coming across another aspect. We have an ex-gang leaders group family now, and they tell me a lot of the guys feel they're nothing, but when they have a gun, the gun is their identity. Because with that gun, what they don't have, they can get. So they're talking about the gun is now that young man's identity. So when he gets angry, bam, you touch my girlfriend, bam. So they're saying the gun is his identity, and that's why it's going to be hard for him to give up that gun, because that's his identity. That's his passport to the Bahamian dream. What do we say about that?
That they use an inanimate object to define who they are.
But Margaret, you got to be somebody. So you had education, you had critical skills, you had a family. They don't have a family. They didn't have the education. So a gun gives them an identity, and that allows them to feel, if you diss me, you make me angry, bam. And that's our problem.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do we reverse that?
And how does the thing is, how do we reverse that? The person who feels like they're nothing is the opposite of my sister saying you're beautiful. There was a breakdown about over here that didn't give them something inside, that didn't talk to who they are inside.
No, I know it's true. And you've done many groups this year in the family. Do you think this is something we should incorporate? Where you actually tell people,
yeah,
you're beautiful?
Yes. People need to know that they're beautiful.
It has to be said.
It has to be said.
Don't just act it.
No,
say it.
You have to say it, that they're beautiful. You have to say, I appreciate what you have done. I appreciate what
Suppose
I
they say,
see in you.
Margaret, I know you're a nice Christian lady. You're just being nice. How do I know you're sincere? How am I going to really believe what you say? I hear what you say. It sounds nice. But how do I know you're really sincere? Maybe you're just being nice to me. What if I don't trust you, that you're sincere enough to really believe what you're saying? What do you do then?
Trust is incremental. Trust has to be built. You have to see
So
me.
you have to keep saying it over and over and over and over.
Yes.
And accept that they would reject you initially.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
But you still keep...
Yeah, you still have to keep saying it. Why should a person trust you right up front? We teach people that people have to be trustworthy in order to be trusted. There are some people you shouldn't trust.
Say that again?
There are some people you shouldn't trust.
Wow. And what do you do then?
What do? You don't trust them. I mean, but if you're gonna learn that trust is real, there needs to be a transparency. there needs to be accountability.
That's very important.
You need to be able to see it over and over again. They need to know that you're not hiding the truth from them, but you're being, and so we know the difference between compliments or what's the word I'm looking for? We know when something is real, when someone actually is giving us something real or false.
Well, you know, Margaret, the other thing we've come across, and some of the young men who committed some of these terrible acts, they're very sad. They're grieving too. They say, how could I do that? Now, so you have the anger, the violence, and only the ones who are hurt are grieving. Some of the ones who perpetrated the hurt are grieving. Why couldn't they grieve at the anger stage and not do the violence?
Why couldn't they just
They
grieve?
grieved after they commit the violence. In fact, when they commit the violence, some of the people committing the violence grieve just as much as the people who have been hurt.
Yeah.
Doctor, how could I ever do this? But why couldn't they feel that way when they felt angry before they committed the violence?
Some people stuff their grief. They are grieving, but they don't actually go through it. You try to stuff it up.
Explain.
There's a grief. Grief is a process that you go through. Now, people don't want to go through it because it feels bad.
So you can choose not to go through grief.
You could choose to abort it, like you abort a baby. You know, don't let the baby be born. Or you can just delay it and let it go on forever and ever, but not really deal with it. But grief have stages. You have to go through it. You're usually in the stages of grief is shock, bargaining, wishing it never happened. If I only hadn't do it, if somebody hadn't come by at that time, I wouldn't have done it. If they hadn't said it at that time, it wouldn't have happened. So you go through this kind of bargaining. People do that, and then they feel guilty, and there's that anger, again, anger at whoever, and there is depression. You feel sad.
Wow.
It's all a part of grief. It's not something that's out of the way. These are part of grieving.
But then you told me at the beginning of this, the program that you met a lady who said they've had somebody die every Christmas the past 3 years.
Yeah. Feel a little resentful. Why do I have to go through this every year like this at this time of the year when things are supposed to be happy? I don't want, you know, my father died on Christmas Day. You know,
Your dad died on Christmas
yeah,
Day.
that happened in '97. So I could identify with this person
I
who
see.
had this grief.
Can you celebrate even though you have grief?
Mm-hmm. You know why I celebrate even though I have grief? Is that grieving is a part of life. It's not just grieving someone who died. It's grieving a loss. I mean, of a job. I may want something and I can't get it. It's grieving is a part of life. When Jesus came into this world, he didn't come into the world and soon as he was born, the world became a perfect place. He said, I come into your brokenness, I come into your pain, and I'm here.
Right. That's right. Grieving is the rent we pay for being alive. It's a part of life.
It's a part of life.
We're going to take a break and be right back.